It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors Southwest.
Oh, hey everybody. We're out here with Captain Tim Young on Trinity Bay. He's one of the best guides in the whole state of Texas, but especially on this bay system right here just out of the Houston-Galveston area. Hey, can you take an old grizzled veteran bass fisherman like me that used to fish tournaments and teach him actually how to catch a few fish, or am I pretty much hopeless?
You might be hopeless.
Don't tell me that.
Might be. Like the first thing we gotta do is get you away from the dock. No pitching, no flipping. We're gonna be in some deeper water, some structure, deeper water reefs, well pads.
We've had this Mako 21 LTS for this season, and you folks have seen it on our show if you've watched our show at all. And we've been all over the whole southeast and southwestern part of the region fishing for all species of fish, but I've always had a captain, a guide on the boat with me. So today is going to be my solo maiden voyage out here by myself. Now Cap's going to be here around the marina, and if I get in trouble, he's going to be around for me to make a phone call to. But you're going to, the plan is you're going to show me some general areas, kind of what the pattern is for speckled trout, and then let me have a shot at it on my own and just see if I can do anything with it. What is the pattern right now?
General pattern is a deep water pattern, and deep water for us is going to be 8 to 10 feet of water.
That's deep.
And that's deep. That is deep. And we'll be fishing shell, mostly oyster shell, some clam shell. The well pads, most every well pad has shell around it as a base. Some of these fish are holding off the shell on the edges of it too. So don't just have to be on top of it, you got to fish the edges as well. So a bass guy like you, working edges, structure, you might be able to snag one or two.
Hey, while we're out doing that today, we're going to be taking you around the region for your latest fishing reports from our team of insider reporters. Your local lakes, rivers, and bays, and see how the fishing is in your neck of the woods. We're going to have a lot of fun today in the Trinity Bay system fishing for speckled trout under the supervision of Captain Tim Young, and we'll give you all his information if you'd like to book a guide trip a little later. Right now, let's get this started. Back at the FSN studios, here's your weekend planner.
The Salooner tables are indicating excellent conditions for game fish activity on Saturday over the holiday weekend. Peak times will start a few hours before sunrise and again at 4:39 in the afternoon. The sun will rise at 7:10 and set at 5:21. And evenings will be lit by a moon that is 65% visible. Stay with us. All of your fishing updates from around the region are on the way. And I'll return with professional angler Keith Combs to answer your Ask the Pro questions. Stay with us.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. By Motor Guide, trolling motors engineered for anglers. And by Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Welcome to the big leagues.
Got one. Oh, that's a trout. That's a decent trout. Oh, got him. Hey, welcome back everybody. Fox Sports Outdoors. And we've made it out onto Trinity Bay. There is a spotted sea trout is the biological name for them. Caught him on a little swim bait on a lead head right there. Right in the top of the mouth. All right, that's a good start. And as you can see, that's just a good solid trout, about 20 inches long, something like that. And got some wind, as we said, out here by ourselves. Captain Tim Young kind of pointed a couple of spots to us on his GPS, and we marked those. Came out here and found one. I'll tell you what we got going. I'm not keeping trout today, so I'm gonna put these fish back. Look right here behind me. When they built these wells, they came out, dredged up a whole bunch of oyster shells, and they laid a big pad of those on the floor of the bay here. And these trout are attracted to it because it's the only thing different. As they're swimming around, it's just a sand and mud bottom out here. And when there's those shells, it's actually an artificial reef, that's what they use to feed. And they'll feed on mullet, shrimp, little bait fish of all kinds are attracted to these pads. Sometimes the fish will actually get up on the well itself, but this is kind of a pretty good sized one out here, and I'm a good 100 yards or so out off the well. Be sure and use your electronics if you've got good electronics like my Lowrance HDS scan that bottom and look for these oyster shells, these reefs. A lot of times that's where the fish will be hanging out. All right, we've got a good start. Let's get you started right now with some fishing and lake reports. Let's go to the state of Texas for your freshwater report with Brian Hughes, followed by Bill Olson on the coast.
Hi folks, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Kickin' Bass, the original fish attractant. The Kickin' Bass offers 8 exciting flavors, including bass, crappie, catfish, and trout specialty flavors. Now this week we're on Lake Buchanan, which is quite low as you can see, so please be very careful when you're out there on the water. Bass fishermen will find the fish up in the shallows, up in the creek channels for about the next week or so. Then they'll start making their way out toward the deeper water as the water temperatures drop. Now you'll want to use finesse lures like your 4-inch swim plastics and your smaller crankbaits. Use those on a spinning rod with 10-pound test or less. Now, over at Lake of the Pines, crappie are starting to ramp up. You can fish around the bridge with either your minnows or your jigs, and be sure to remember that Lake of the Pines is another one of those retention limit suspension lakes. Now what does all that mean? It's simple. They suspend the minimum length limit on crappie at Lake of the Pines through December, January, and February. Keep the first 25 you catch, that'll be your limit. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Kickin' Bass, the original fish attractant. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, Texas Outdoors Journal brings you this week's report, and our December issue is now on sale on newsstands just in time for some great fresh and saltwater fishing, along with deer and waterfowl hunting for the Christmas holidays. Plus there's gift ideas for the hunter and anglers, and Texas Outdoors Journal Christmas Special. Pick up a copy of Texas Outdoors Journal on newsstands or subscribe at texasoutdoorsjournal.com or call 800-222-4TOJ. Well, another cold front drops water temperatures that had warmed some back into the 50s and 60s along the Texas coast. With the early arrival of colder weather, look for speckled trout to stay close to deeper holes and channels where they spent most of the summer and fall. Now we are back in a pattern of picking our days to fish and playing the elements. On Sabine, the birds will still work over fish feeding in the middle of the lake. Flounder are being caught along the channel leading to the Gulf. Redfish are more temperature tolerant and will be working shorelines as well as mid-lake areas. Similar scenarios will play out in Galveston all the way south to East and West Matagorda. Now, mud and shell bottoms have become preferred areas for fish to hold. Look for San Antonio Bay, Ayers, Mesquite, and around Blackjack Peninsula to be good areas holding fish now that Cedar Bayou has been reopened. All along the Texas coast, the intercoastal waterways is a good place to find trout. Add to that the crash channels either side of the JFK Causeway. Now from Port Mansfield to Port Isabel, deeper water will hold trout. South of Cullens continues to produce. The causeways and the Brownsville Ship Channel are havens for a variety of fish caught on a variety of bait. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides each day. I'm Bill Olson, wishing each of you a very happy Thanksgiving weekend and hoping to see you on the coast.
Got one. Right by that well. Oh, that is a sheephead. All right, well, we haven't caught one of those, so we'll show him. There's what one looks like right there. They mix in with the trout, they'll mix in with redfish. All right, well, it's gonna take me a while to get this fish loose and keep from drifting into this well pad. That's a good thing about my XI5 trolling motor, is I can sit here and do this without ever moving. All right, stay with us. We're gonna take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. Back for more Trinity Bay, hopefully speckled trout fishing right after this. Don't go anywhere. Got one. Good trout, good trout. Look at this one. Wow. Man, look at that big daddy. That's a Kong right there. Man, welcome back everybody. Fox Sports Outdoors. Speckled trout fishing on my own today, really for the very first time. Never done this before by myself. Got a little help from my friend, Tim Young. We're out here on Trinity Bay. And that is a swim bait, and that's a really nice speck right there. That fish is probably 24 inches, something in that class right there. Beautiful specimen, yellow mouth, and just ran up there and just chomped on that swim bait. What a great fish. Glad to have you along today. We're letting fish go back today, so let's bring him right over here and gently ease him back in the water. Let me grab him and let him. Oh man, gone, just like that, made him mad. What I've learned is that you can't make a speckled trout bite most of the time. If he's not feeding, you're not gonna catch him. You've got to find actively feeding fish, and the way you do that is find slicks. Now, a slick is a little small patch of oil that's on the surface of the water. All of the bait fish these trout are eating has a lot of oil in its system. When they chomp down on it, that oil squirts out in the water and it floats to the top and it makes a slick, a little sheen on top of the water. You can see them with your naked eye. It's a lot better if you have your Costa sunglasses on where you can get some polarization going, but you can see these slicks. And I found one about 40, 50 yards off one of these well pads, made a good cast in it, worked it to the edge, and that fish slammed it. Really nice one, best one of the day so far. Let's check right now some more fishing and lake reports. Let's go to Oklahoma with Gary Dollahan.
Hey, Thanksgiving always makes me think of the great winter trout stocking fishing opportunities we have here in Oklahoma. The Wildlife Department typically starts its winter trout stocking program around the 1st of November, so by this time, lots of fish have been planted. You can catch them at many places across the state. Now, to find out where those places are that are stocked, you can go to wildlifedepartment.com, click on fishing, and then click on where to fish. You'll see the trout stocking places and schedules on that website. Now, Blue River and Perry CC both had frequent stockings already. The fishing is good there. The guys are catching them on spinners and also on prepared baits such as power baits. Also, the Lower Illinois River, the report is that the cold snap we had the few days previous to this really shut down the fishing pressure, so not many people have been out. There's a lot of fish in those waters that are ready to be caught. Now, some other areas also have their own winter trout stocking programs. One of those is Pretty Water Lake of Sapulpa. I stopped by there this week, visited with several anglers around the lake. Now, on this day, the fishing was slow, but they said it has already had 2 stockings. A third one is scheduled for Thanksgiving week. Young angler Nick Metter said that he likes to fish here a lot. He likes to use a hand-tied little jig on a 64th ounce jig head. Does well on that. Had caught a small trout just before I got here on it. Don Deal was also fishing here. Again, likes to fish with spinners. Also visited with an angler who was just coming in from having fish on a float tube in the lake. Does have a daily fishing fee or a season fishing pass that you can get purchased from the city of Sapulpa. Now, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago how good the walleye fishing was on Hefner. A 9-pound walleye was caught here just a few days ago, so that fishing remains extremely good there around the riprap areas. Crappie bite is still on in Oklahoma, in the brush piles, 14 and 20 feet deep. One thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go.
Hey, here's one quick little tip I've learned today about how to work this bait and what attracts the most strikes. What I'm doing is taking this plastic shrimp imitation or plastic swim bait on a lead head, making a big long cast downwind to get the most length I can. I'm letting that bait go about halfway from the surface to the bottom, about halfway down, keeping my rod tip held high, and then starting a series of erratic twitches. Hop, hop, turn that reel handle. Hop, 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 keep this reel handle turning. I'm keeping it coming all the time. I never let it settle all the way to the floor of the lake. Keep the reel handle turning, couple of hops, turn the handle, 1 hop, turn the handle, and just keep that going. And these fish seem to want to chase it down on the reel. So that's just one tip on what works today to attract the most strikes. Here's Tim Young's information if you'd like to book him for a guide trip here on Trinity Bay. He knows this entire system like the back of his hand. He's fished here for many, many years. He can put you on speckled trout. If anybody can, you can contact him at the phone number and the rest of the information you see there at the bottom of your screen. He's a good guy, good friend of the show. Book him for a guide trip if you'd like to come here. We'll be right back for more speckled trout fishing from the Texas Gulf Coast in just one moment.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Mercury Marine, celebrating 75 years of marine excellence. By Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability. By Tracker Boats, it's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. And by Whataburger. Get your day started at Whataburger with the new jalapeno cheddar biscuit.
There's one at the boat, straight down. Good one. Man, what a thrash. Oh, and he's pulling my rod down. You done? No, he's not done. All right. We're at Trinity Bay, catching some of those. That's a fat daddy right there. Beautiful yellow mouth. Look at those teeth. That's what he chomps that oil out of that bait fish with right there. What a great specimen. We're having a great time today catching them, and we're releasing them. Let's let him go back. All right, let's talk some more about what I've learned today about finding these speckled trout. I fished a lot of areas here in Trinity Bay. What I've found so far is the higher salinity, the higher salt content in the water, the more speckled trout. Now, this system's got a lot of creeks and ditches and rivers running in the upper end of it. They've had a lot of rain here and a lot of fresh water coming in. You don't want that for speckled trout. You want to run away from fresh water to the higher salt content, and it'll generally be pushed down the bay system. High salt content, high salinity. Second thing is clearer water. Here on the Texas Gulf Coast, we don't have really gin clear water, but we have brownish water and we have greenish water. You want to be looking for this greenish colored water. I don't know if you can really tell it or not in this video, but this is the good color of water. This is the greenish tint that you're looking for in this water. If you can only see 4-6 inches in the water, it's really too murky, too muddy, too brown. This green water right here, I can see anywhere from a foot to 2 feet down in the water, see my bait that deep, and that equals more speckled trout. Hey, let's get you some more fishing and lake reports from your local area.
Hi friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox, Louisiana Fisher Report. Well, I tell you what friends, you can see the boats hanging here in the boat stall, and there's a good reason. If you follow us on Facebook, you've seen all the many pictures of the last 2 weeks. You know that right now, fishing is about as good as it can get. Limits of speckled trout, redfish, flounder, whatever you want to go after, each and every day. But yet our boats are hanging. The reason why, here at Cajun Paradise Lodge and Charters, we lost one of our top guides, Captain Dane Viator, age 54, died in his sleep. It's a big loss for us, friends, not only for us, for the hundreds and hundreds of people that Captain Dane's been taking out fishing. Captain Dane is going to be missed by everyone. He was the first one in the camp each and every morning, getting his boat ready to go out fishing. He had so many stories that everyone loved to hear. Dane was truly the trout master of Calcasieu Lake.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. By Luz, setting a new standard in fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Strike King Lures, #1 in fishing. By Lowrance Electronics. Find, navigate, dominate. By Fort Worth Nissan. Fox Sports Outdoors is powered by Fort Worth Nissan.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Whataburger Ask the Pro, where viewer questions get answered by professional anglers. This week, Steven asks, what is the one must-have bait? For the answer, we asked Texas Bass Classic champion Keith Combs.
When all else fails, the lure that I go to is a Strike King KVD 1.5 in Tennessee shad. I don't know what it is about that bait. It's one that I can cover a lot of water with. I can pick it up and just go down a riprap bank. I can go down a grass line. You know, I can catch them in a lot of different scenarios. But that is one bait that I can flat put them in the boat with, and it catches big ones. So KVD 1.5 Tennessee shad is my #1 go-to color.
Thanks, Keith. If you want some help from a professional angler, visit foxsportsoutdoors.com and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now it's time for someone to win a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
We've made it back to the Kemah Boardwalk at Kemah, Texas. As you can see right behind me, it's the Boardwalk Bullet Roller Coaster. It's time right now for this week's Costa Catch of the Week winner, Stacy Alls of Alvarado, Texas, showing a 2.1-pound crappie caught at Navarro Mills Lake on a Bobby Garland baby shad in Cajun cricket color. If you'd like to enter our contest and have a chance to win a brand new pair of Costa sunglasses, just go to the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Follow the instructions to send us your big fish photo over 18 years of age, please. And if you'd like to see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, you can see those, the Costa website, by going back to our front page and clicking on the Costa logo. You can see all of the great Costas there, including the frame styles that I was wearing on this week's episode called Double Haul in the camo pattern color. Next up, it's the Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff feature, the right gear to come catch speckled trout, not only here at Trinity Bay, but up and down the entire Gulf Coast system. These baits will work. We had a lot of wind today, so we were using a little heavier painted jig head. That's a 3/8 ounce jig head with a heavy stainless steel hook and a little plastic swim bait body on that, about 3 inches long. And on the right side is the Voodoo Shrimp. It's a fantastic shrimp plastic imitation bait. Again, a little heavier weight to get it down in those big waves. Did a great job on this week's episode. Recently, I had something bad happen to me. And immediately I had to start going through all those emotional processes, the grieving process of denial and shock, fear, anger, and blaming someone. But ultimately I got through those emotions where I could think a little more clearly and began to look for the silver lining, something good to come out of a negative situation. I'll be honest with you, I haven't found it yet, but I believe that if I keep looking, I will. My faith tells me that. What I've learned, though, is it took a little maturity. I had to get a little age on me to learn to process through those emotions quicker. I did it in less than a day, and it's a lot better process. Begin to quickly learn to move through all of those negative emotions when something bad happens and get to that silver lining, looking for something good as fast as you possibly can. It makes life a lot easier. Hey, I hope you enjoyed our trip out to Trinity Bay today to catch those speckled trout. And again, if you'd like to book a trip here, you can do that with Captain Tim Young, the information you see on your screen. Hey, don't forget also to join us for next week's episode. We'll be on at 10:30 Thursday night with the repeat airing Saturday morning at 7:30. You can always catch the latest episode of our show in full HD right on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. And right below that, click on the More Episodes and Video Here box. You can see all of our past episodes, how-to videos, product videos, a lot of great stuff and videos in that area. Also, don't forget to see all the latest fishing news and photos and video on our Twitter feed, and you can also see lots of information on our Facebook page. Click the like button there. From the Kemah Boardwalk in Kemah, Texas, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.